So this is our drawing. This is our initial drawing. We're gonna continue. I'm gonna draw the whole time I'm painting. That's why if you look at this drawing, you might go, could be better. But we're gonna keep drawing the whole time we're painting. Also, I want to tell you guys, I tend to tone my canvas with a gray. So I actually use the Cheap Joe's, I believe it's the Signature Gesso, and just a little dab of the inexpensive Cheap Joe's acrylic paint, and I'll mix it together. And I try to get kind of a medium photo gray. And when I'm traveling, I use disposable palettes, and they come in gray, and I try to match the color of the color of the canvas close to the color of the palette. A little light today, but you know, we're gonna keep on moving. And it's just so much easier to me to see the color on the painting when it's not on a stark white background. And I used to always paint on white, or I would paint on a like a sienna tone background, but I just found it easier, and thanks to my friend great painter Randolph Di Milanta, who showed me this trick, it's just so much easier to see the color this way. So now we're going to start off putting in our darkest darks, and I'm going to take what I consider to be the biggest brush that I can use on this painting. So this is my number 12 Princeton that I'm working with here, and I'm going to mix up a couple dark tones. So this is my burnt sienna and my French ultramarine blue. And you mix them together and they make pretty much a black. And my other tone is my sap green and my dioxin purple. And I don't know if you guys can tell that I mix one color over here, the other color over here, I mix them together so that you end up with the mixture in the middle and all the way green over here, all the way purple over here. But what you don't end up with is a whole bunch of the wrong color if you make a mistake when you're mixing. All right. Third dark tone that I use would be my permanent rose and my sap green, and this makes a dark brown. And I'm going to use these where appropriate and probably combinations of them. So we're going to start off where the values are the darkest. And I'm going to go back to this mixture over here. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of this one. There should be a lot of oil in here at this point. And that brings me to kind of the technique that I'm using is chiaroscuro. Don't ask me to spell it. But it means that we paint from dark to light and we paint from thin to thick. So we are at dark and thin right now. We're going to paint her hair in a mass. So I'm going to do a lot of squinting right now in order to get those shapes correct. When I open my eyes, I will put in more of the detail. So her hair is curly, but we will get more of that later. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I tend to do a stroke or two, and then I change the color somewhat. And I actually learned that probably junior year of high school. My high school art teacher, Miss Surratt, used to tell me, Gordon, that's a great color. You cannot put it everywhere. And so, just because you've mixed it, don't feel like you have to use it and use it and use it and use it. It really can't be everywhere because, the light's going to change, the color's going to change as you move around your model. Now, as you paint, your model will move. A lot of times they will settle. They'll kind of relax in the position. And that's just something that you have to get used to because you're painting people. They are not statues. And so I'm deciding that she's in a slightly different position, whether to change my painting, because I really like how she's sitting now, or whether to ask her to try to move back. I think I might just change my painting. So I think how she's sitting is very pretty now. So I want you guys to notice how I tend to paint with strokes. I'm pretty far back on the brush. I don't get up there and hold it tight like I'm writing a letter. Maybe at the end, but not right now. So I'm going to make a little bit of a change to my drawing. Let's put a little bit of turp on paper towel and wipe. Ah, there we go. That's a little nicer. More like our model. I think we all can agree that that's a little nicer. And she looks like a young woman now instead of whatever I had going on before. All right, I'm going to put a little bit more value in the hair. I'm not going to work on the hair forever. I like to work from dark to light, but we are time limited. So we're going to jump a little in a couple minutes. One thing that I want to take a second to talk about is actually using paint when you paint. A lot of times I'll teach with people, and art supplies they can be expensive, you know, and some people don't want to use paint. But I say, you have to, it takes paint to make paintings. And I really believe that it takes good paint to make good paintings. I have some paintings that I did in college that I thought were nice paintings. And because I used not so great paints that I don't even think they carry here at Cheap Joe's, those paintings are not in good shape now. They look very dry. They don't have much life. And they were paintings that I definitely cared about back then. They marked that moment in time. They were certainly the best I could do at that time. So it's a shame that they don't look any nicer just because I didn't choose to invest in my materials. So if you can do it, invest in your materials. I'm a Winsor Newton guy. I love Old Holland. All right, we're having fun now. A little lighter. I'm kind of an aggressive painter, which means I pretty much go for it. But in my personal work, I try to temper that with a certain taste that gives us that beauty along with that confidence of stroke. When I paint my darks, sometimes I tend to paint them a little larger than maybe they need to be on the canvas, because I know that there's going to be a light next to it soon that I can bring in to help define it. I really love doing these quick studies, and when I teach my painting workshops, I like to have us do, instead of one large painting that we kind of baby and really labor over for a lot of time, I like to try to paint like in my portrait workshops, like a painting every week, because there's just no substitute for doing more paintings. All right, let's get that red in there. I said we weren't going to spend a lot of time on our hair, but I think we're having fun, so we're going to keep moving with it. As you guys can see, I'm still with my large brush. The only reason I'm starting with the hair is like, really, it's not that it's hair, it's that it's a dark value. So we start with the darkest values in our painting first. For her, it happens to be be the hair. If she were blonde, it would be different. You know, if she were African American with blonde hair, we'd start with probably with her skin tone first. So it really doesn't matter what it is. And really, I'm painting Alicia, but she, to me, right now is a series of abstract shapes and colors. So if I draw those abstract shapes in the right place and I make them the right color and those colors are the right value and the right temperature, at the end, when everything's all where it should be, it will be Alicia. All right. So right now we are about through the first stage where we've done our darkest darks.